Hi guys, George here, and today I'm going to bring to you part three of three for Bloc Busting in Briusk. It's a scenario that I was playing solo. I've played it twice, playing both sides prior to this, uh, against my good buddy Dennis Freeberg. And having played it with a live player and then against solo, I think the primary takeaway is um, is that regardless of which side you play, do not give up hope. Yeah, try to play it towards the end because it's a real nail biter and things can, the outcome can be close. Now, having said that, I also want to recall that prior to playing this solo, and even before that, I kind of drew out a plan. I drew out a plan for the Germans, and the German plan was basically, hey, let's skulk as much as we can and always fire on good targets of opportunity. Good targets of opportunity are usually leaders moving out in the open. Your leaders are gone, your fighting forces usually gone as well. And I'm laughing at that because it's obvious, but it seems rather obvious, but a lot of people kind of take the opportunity to fire at the first target that they kind of see and don't really uh, have a selection priority for targets. Now, as for the Russians, I would say be diligent and be careful of your advance. Make sure that you assign um, tasks and separate your forces in a couple of task groups and be mindful of your attack and your path of attack. Um, Now, having said that, I think it's part of Murphy's Law that a good battle plan only uh, is good up until combat ensues or starts, and then everything goes to fill in the blank. All right, so look, I'm going to pause the video so I can put on my thinking cap and return, and I have two log files to share with you. Hold on one moment. So I just took a little break and put on my thinking cap, which is a Blue Jays baseball cap, which I bought from Toronto a few years back on my way back from Parry Sound. We stopped in Vaughan, and it was a heck of a ride. When I've never been to Vaughan before, having been there the first time, and I asked someone, "Where the heck am I?" It's just like I came from another planet. And they said, Vaughan. I never heard of Vaughan before. Well, it looks like a very nice town, a very nice city. Um, and as you can see, as you can imagine, there's a lot of uh, luxury around there. Coffee, guys, Nescafe. Be helpful to take out the spoon. Put it there. There you go. Right. Let's move through the log now and see what has transpired. And at this point, or at this juncture, this fellow lost his main armament. This fellow's on low ammo. We have one tank wrecked. We have two trusty. I think we have two trusty KV2s or KV1s. I'm not sure, and a nice big assault gun. But he's low ammo as well. These are trucks that are in motion. They're really insignificant to the battle. I just left them alone. And as things transpired, I seem to have made a lot of mistakes. Yeah, a lot of tactical mistakes. Um, I guess from forgetfulness. Usually, when I do these videos, it's early in the morning. As you can see, I have coffee. I love coffee, a good cup of coffee. I had stopped drinking coffee for a while, but I started again. And compared to Ardwolf, when he does his counter clipping videos, he enjoys a good glass of whiskey or a good drink. I can't do that because of my diabetes and everything, and being the age that I am, I kind of perform better in the mornings than I do in the evening and afternoons. And some of these gameplays that I actually played were in the afternoon, unfortunately. All right, guys, if you want to speed up the video, go ahead. I'm just going through everything here, and we're going through the rally phase, I believe. It's actually turn 5 if I remember correctly. At times I forget to uh, advance the counters. So here I am trying to rally units on both sides. Now we're prep firing. Axis turn 4, is it? Perhaps Axis turn 4. All right, 2 hit, we roll the SAN. Did we forget the SAN? Scored a morale check right down there. Stug is firing at the fire group here. A lot of good that did me. Uh, go again. Normal morale check for SMC 9 on the 12 IFT. I usually log the locations that where I'm firing. So I can recall sound check. I did not forget the sound check. It was a small sound. Direction and distance was back to the lower 10 location there. So at this point in time, I'm asking myself, should I change the location of the Panzerschreck? Yes or no? He's ordinarily there. This corner of the city is already being guarded by the Stug. So in the dice roll, the dice said yes, change them up. There you go. And so they're pinned and they're there. Um, okay. Rolling on it to hit again. Well, this fellow tried to fire there and didn't make it. Wow. I think he was the fellow that rolled the 3. All right. The Russian, the defensive fire phase for the Russians, and they're trying to knock out these guys with the 76L here. Uh, Schultz kind of Schultz skulked. Can you say that 3 times quickly? Schultz skulked. Wow. Anywho, pinned and scored a large act. We were flying area target type. Yep, area target type +1 for being buttoned up. Because if you figure out the odds, uh, although they're at less than a 6x range away, it would have otherwise been an 8 to hit on the infantry target type, and then you would have to factor in being buttoned up +1 and +3 for the TEM, so it would be a 4 to hit. But with area target type, you get a 7 to hit +1 for being buttoned up. You hit on a 6, and then you add the TEM to your firepower. You half the 76. It's still a 6 up 3, which is a fairly decent shot. So the point of doing the area target type in that instance was what? Yeah, you fire on the 6 table twice, once for the main armament and a second time for the bow and coax machine guns. There you go. I'm thinking maybe I already went through this log. If I did, then just jump ahead, but I'm pretty sure I didn't. Ooh, did a lost check. What the heck was that? That should have not have been a clear line of sight. There's 2 hex blind hexes. I'm not even sure why I did that. But he's looking for a target. And then the thing that you need to remember is that uh, you can do a lost check. You're obligated to fire, but then if you get rate, you can get to shoot again. Yeah, you get to shoot again with your gun. Here's the rally phase of Russian turn 5. Now I'm sure this is brand spanking new log. There's no repetition. Now the Russians kind of got into here from here. Um, the Stug just stood its ground and it's waiting for the Russian army to come to it, not the other way around. Because the moment you get into the LOS of a stationary tank, um, and you're both equally matched with the main armament in terms of armor factors, uh, nothing to brag about compared to this monster here. Chances are, as the person that is advancing into stationary armor, you're going to get your turret blown off. Um, so they're basically guarding um, these two buildings really at this juncture. And this fellow here, just in previous phase, I may have overlooked it, but they stepped into close combat, and the Russian unit got casualty reduced. But Wagner's still in a little bit of a pickle, a jam. Yeah, yeah. I think the ultimately that loss was a concealment game activity. See if somebody could deny him um, concealment, and it was this fellow here. And now I kind of realized that this fellow here now has lost to there, but I may have realized that late. And this fellow does not get a penalty for being buttoned up because he's not. He's open top. Let's see. Focus in on the action here. Yeah. Yep. All right. So let's move along. It's Russian turn 5. And he'll have 1, 2, 3 turns left to get through with everything. So here we are moving up um, the big assault gun, and I'm afraid that oh yeah, we're trying to do street fighting. So this fellow lost his concealment and did not pass his patsy, or he did pass his patsy, but he rolled a look what happened here. Maybe I can bring this thing here so you can see the rolls, because on the right hand side of the board there's really not a lot of action happening. So I declare street fighting because he's in the tank is between two buildings. Goes to pass his tax check, he passes it and then rolls a 10. And ultimately, that fellow needed when you look at his CV value, uh, he's a half squad 3 -1 for street fighting 4 or less. Oh well, let's move along. And that's the first mistake I've done in this segment, which is to advance this dude in the line of sight of the Stug. And if you read Jim Bishop's blog, uh, tenet number 1 of armor fighting is um, let the armor come to you. Don't go, don't go to the your opponent. Look what George just did. Now, granted, this dude has some awesome armor, but his turret is of lower value, and also he's a large target. So um, this fellow is a large target. On the contrary, the Slug is a small target, low profile silhouette. Who's going to get hit first? I'll let you guys ponder that one. All right, turns around, goes on the 2-hit table. Let's see what happened there. We said vehicular target type, +1 buttoned up, -1 large target, +2 for case J, plus 1 for J sus 1. Expended 2 moon points in loss or greater because he actually stopped. So 70 hit. Misses by 1, but gets an ack. Now here comes my devious plan. These troops have already advanced. Point blank fire with the melee hex. And these boys are really putting on the Zickerhead. I'm not sure if that's the right word. Um, we got a unit upstairs holding a unit prisoner that's larger than his unit size. Rinsky moves up. Everybody else moves up. Here come my dexterity issues. Nikov comes up. Ooh, look at that. Schultz tries to hit Nikov. Now that shot, if let's take a look at the mechanics of that shot. We're throwing everything, inherit and HMG fire at 8 up 2. Should have been 8 up 1. 8 up 1 because unless he was not leader directed, uh, but I doubt it should have been 8 up 1 because there's a plus 210, minus 1 for non-assault movement, and minus 1 for the leadership. But just the same, we rolled boxcars. What happens when you roll boxcars with an HMG? It's busted. It's busted. Valinov is doing a little sneaky snake here with a half squad that was left over, what was left over more or less after this guy finished firing on him. And mistake number 2, I suppose, is forgetting about these guys there, or did I not? At one point or another, I think I completely forgot about them because I was concentrating on the armor. And the whole crux of this fellow moving here was uh, to try and pincer this fellow with 2 tanks. But, like I said before, um, plans don't always fall through in combat, I suppose. And this is paper combat, but still. Completely forgot about this fellow here. Uh, because now I'm confronting my adversary here, and time is running out, so the stress factor just increases. So possibly mistake number 3 here. Moving rather along. Oh, geez. Oh, geez. Check this out. I tried to fire here to there, all right, and then following this little misfire, right, I completely forgot that this guy has a rate of 3, it's a 50L, and when the Soviet player advanced to there, it's under a concealment counter. What cannot be seen is forgotten, all right. But I'm not sure why I'm so hard on myself for not playing the Germans correctly, as opposed to not being more efficient with the Russians. XXVII, roll a good roll there. And what happened is we're firing into the melee hex. I guess first with the flamethrower. Let's see, were we? Let's see, I logged this, so let's see. To hit 10 turret, and we have a 24 up 0. I guess it was the flamethrower firing into there, and we got a 4, but we cowered to a 20. Yeah, and here we are rolling morale checks because of that. Huh. Yep, there we go. Got that right. So the flamethrower attack, we have one unit, German unit broken, and a Russian unit broken. Leader's pinned. Leader's pinned in our melee hex. So that his attack factors are below 1. And the way I played that is in the rout phase, they each have to withdraw. The leader was not supposed to be able to withdraw from that hex. So let's see how we played it. A lot of interesting events happen. Some folks become upper level encircled because I'm now holding the staircase. I think that upper level encirclement should have been lifted um, since the units in the staircase are still in melee. But eventually, I would get that hex in any case. This fellow here and that fellow there should be upper level encircled as well. Route phase. I was trying to route them, and oh, here we go. We were gonna load the other log. So this is the final log, and we're talking about what's going to happen here in close combat. Leader is pinned, and 2 MMCs on opposing sides are broken, all due to a flamethrower attack. And that should have wrecked our concealment, I suppose, but at the same token, I don't think they're in anybody's loss. Anyway, moving rather along. Now, the Russian unit advanced into there. They couldn't rout because they were in melee. Russian unit advances in there. Now I suppose they have to skedaddle. But the Russians' unit withdraw will be covered by a multi-man counter. Um, the leader's pretty much toast. He's pinned and in close combat. Oh well. This fellow tried to attack and he broke his gun. He broke his gun on a 2-hit roll. He rolled a a number larger than 10, and he was already marked with ammo shortage. So it wasn't the Stug that took him out. It was his faulty, not well made main armament. Sounds familiar? History repeats itself, huh? I won't go into that, but anywho. Here's the Russian units ultimately advancing. And keep in mind, what I had in the back of my head as a plan for these KVs was to take out, or try to take out, the Stug, instead of using them uh, to pepper away at the defenders here. And we're already in turn 5. So let's go on. Close combat. I think ultimately everybody was eliminated there. One guy withdrew. They're still in melee. We're trying to rally, and the rally is pretty ineffective, I suppose. Pretty ineffective. We tried to pick up some weapons. We did. I believe we did. Hmm. Now, at this juncture, what I pause to think about is, what is the purpose of mopping up? And can I mop up a building that has uh, units that are in good order and not hip or concealed? Um, and based on my interpretation or understanding of the rule, I think the mopping up um, was only if you have hip or broken units. Uh, and basically, if you do have broken units in that building and you qualify for all the other um, conditions, um, then you can mop up and take control of the upper levels and whatever broken units are in that building surrender to you. But if there are hip units, then you have to check for casualties, and if the dice roll goes bad, then you suffer as the person going TI to mop up, you suffer casualty reduction. So I don't think mopping up was in this case appropriate. And I came to the conclusion that ultimately my forces will have to go into the upper levels and knock out these guys. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm learning this, and I think mop up is and searching is a couple of things that we kind of overlook. And even though there is a mop-up opportunity, instead of taking the mop-up opportunity, we still go into the rafters and the upper levels trying to chase folks that we shouldn't be chasing. So correct me if I'm wrong in that respect, okay? I respectfully, please. All right. Forgot to fire the Stug. A lot of good that'll do me. Yeah, I thought there was an opportunity to fire at the big stack over there. Well, no, there isn't. It fires in any case, doesn't result in anything. And he's still firing at that building. Schultz has scoffed back, removing the rest of uh, the dummy counters, more or less, because everybody that could have been um, could have been switched with a dummy counter has been. And mistake number four, I suppose, is um, instead of using this guy to lay smoke into his hex, um, we tried to knock him out with what? The only way I could have knocked him out is if I got in a critical hit. However, he could have tried to use his smoke advantage first and foremost um, before anything else. Hmm. So we got a little killer stack here, another killer stack here, more or less. He would have advanced to there and then completely annihilated this position with a 12 even shot from the flamethrower, providing he was rolling less than 10. That would have been great. This guy had to split up his forces to go chasing the half squad in the upper levels. And at this point, he is upper level encircled. No, he's not. He's still in melee here. Well, it really didn't uh, matter at the end. So this is German turn 5 rep. And we're going back and guarding this building. So the Soviets pretty much have one, two. They could have had three, four. But let's take a look at the casualties that each side incurred as well to just to give you a feel of where we were at this juncture. Okay, uh, casualties here. So here is, it wasn't so bad. It wasn't really that bad. We have one engineer, one and two squads that were gone from the Russians. It's not so bad. Um, Pretty evenly matched, I suppose, except I would uh, gather that losing two leaders was really, really uh, pretty nasty for the Germans to incur. Wasn't so bad. I should have opened up that casualty bin and actually looked at it more closely. I wouldn't have given up so easily. All right, moving along. We're trying to rally, and again, rallies are not successful. In F3, we needed seven or less. F3 was um, here. Those Ruskies were never rallied. Never. In the end, I ultimately just left them behind. All right, you're playing a game, and certain units just refuse to rally, even with good rolls. Okay, so we ultimately, in the previous turn, eliminated a leader and we captured ourselves a spanking brand new German MMG. So we have a pretty good fire group here. We have that flamethrower there. So what did I do here is Russian turn six. I decided to move this unit first into there. Schultz takes a shot, puts in some residuals, and then I'm chicken, or I kindly forget that I ultimately should put a flamethrower there. That's the mistake that I did as the Russian. I forgot to advance the flamethrower so the flamethrower could be two hexes away. Then the mistake that ensued as the German player is I completely forgot about this guy in his high rate of fire. And that's the reason why I put him there, so he can knock and lob shells in there, into that building, especially covering his position. Let's take a look at that. Let's fast track here. Here we are. We got a morale check, uh, I believe, on that leader Schultz, and that fire was ineffective. Here's what I just gave you as a preview, but ultimately all Schultz was able to do was pin this unit. But he did put in two residuals in there, and advancing a flamethrower in there, you still are going to get only a +1 modifier. All right. We took this weapon and span it around. Here we are advancing up this building to take care of this guy. Now this guy is finally encircled, and we're going to go into close combat with the guard. He can't attack us, but he can defend at full strength. So it's just a matter of being able to free this dude. Okay. This fellow has to say goodbye to his comrades because he mouthed. And then I just ultimately left him there because he's pretty inconsequential to the um, to the uh, to the game. But again, I should have. It's good practice to take your time and take units off the board properly. All right, don't be a slob. If you're sloppy in one case, you'll be sloppy all over. Sloppiness is addictive. And here's my plan trying to come together. And you really need to count your movement points before you try to execute a plan. One unit is gone, and then I ultimately could not come close to this fellow, close enough given 14 movement points. Yeah. So we can't even get point blank fire. Right now, if I was able to uh, do a more devious turn, I I would, but I couldn't because somehow when I was moving my AFVs, I was really mindful of the AT gun and the martyr up there. And the martyr kind of finds out, hey, we have a nice juicy target there. We have a leader, a high-end leader, a wounded hero, and a couple of engineers. Albeit one is a half squad. Hits, 12 even shot. We ultimately scored a task trick. Wow. And pinned everybody. Um, that ain't good. That ain't good. And I was asking myself, why didn't I dash this way? I didn't dash that way because the last time I tried to dash in open ground was really not that productive. It was actually devastating. The advanced fire and this guy is devious. The other thing I kind of really overlooked was, I mentioned it before, is basically uh, for the infantry gun, I, uh, um, I forgot about the fact that he has smoke. If you don't believe me, let's go show info. Smoke 8. So what if I lost heat? Still had smoke. And uh, then I looked into the rule book to see if you can intentionally um, immobilize the tank while his covered arc was in a different direction. And I couldn't because I had to be 6 hexes away. Um, so let's see if I log that uh, in there. Not really. Okay, yeah, 6 hexes away. You have to add 5 to your dice roll, and you have to get a hull hit. So if you're facing an assault gun and you have a low caliber AT gun, instead of trying to knock out his armor, and he comes within 6 hexes away from you, you can always try to immobilize him in such a direction that, hey, he can't turn his turret around to hit you. He's facing Timbuktu. Can't forget about these things. This is what these are the little nuances in the rules that distinguish a good player from an average player or a beginner player. So here we're going close combat. These dudes moved up. A 16 fire group unit. Everybody else moves up. We have some close combats. We had one unit, one close combat that resulted in an ambush and then elimination. And I brought back the engineer as a conscript unit because I eliminated the German half squad. I could be wrong. Uh, I'm still grappling with the prisoner rules, and I think Jim was about to write something about that. Um, we'll have to buy him a pizza and a Coke one day, or and get tutored on prisoners. Yeah, not close combat here with an encircled unit. Let's see what we logged in there in the log file. There's no ambush. 2 to 1, rolled a 3, and 1 to 4, rolled a 9. So I think in this case, Brinsky did his job. One of the few leaders that did, Russian leaders that did their job. Trying to rally the PSK on a soft rally. This is German turn 6. Couldn't make it. Now as you can see, we're targeting, as the German player, we're targeting in the prep fire phase that KV. to hit 3, to kill 3. It's a blaze because I believe I rolled a lot less than half of the required to kill number. Let's see what's going on there. A little bit of a firefight. J4 to H3. Yep. And it's an 8 up 1 shot. Rolled a 7. Exactly a normal morale check. Let's see what happens there. What happened was one unit broke and the other unit pinned. And we got raped. And we believe we broke the heavy again. Right there. Boom. So that heavy must have broken down 3 times in the course of 6 turns, if I'm not mistaken, if not 2 at least. And it gets repaired because you need a 3 or less to repair it. And now we hit with a mortar. Luckily, we rolled a 10. Luckily for the Russians, we rolled a 10. And we got a task check. And now, German movement, we decided to vacate this building and just go here. Go here. And at this juncture, I just completely lost 1 KV. You know, if my mind is playing tricks on me or something. I had this fellow here. Oh, look. Oh, geez. So I wasn't able to pincer this fellow, and they moved in one after the other. So he kind of knocked out everybody. I had 2 units mouth their weapons, 2 armor units mouth their weapons. Now the Russian player is left without armor, and you can sense my anxiety playing the Russians. How I feel about that? Pretty awful. Pretty awful. Now a little bit of a firefight here and there. Yeah, we knocked out this fellow. But guess what? Fritz is in the building. Fritz is in the house. Fritz is in the house. Um, I would have to flank these boys to get around. Uh, it would have been great if I could, but let's see what's transpiring here. So we picked up the heavy and let the leader picked up the heavy and let the squad run back. Trying to rally. The Russian turned 7. This guy is done for. We're prep firing. Darn. Oh, in this case here, we had rolled an 11 and broke both LMGs. That too kind of lowered my personal morale. Here we are, moving up, moving up. And guess what? We decided to bypass, to bump these guys. Clear line of sight from there. And now let's see what would have happened if I went 1, 2, 3, and then advanced in there. Let's see if that would have been better. Clear line of sight there. So clear line of sight there. Clear, clear, clear. He had it covered. So grabbing the HMG with Schultz would have been great. Um, would have been great, but we still have a little unit there. And we ultimately needed to get one of these two buildings. This was more accessible, provided these guys could have dashed around. Didn't look possible. Yeah, and maybe instead of we had to fire these guys. We had to fire these guys. We had to fire these guys. We simply did not have enough personnel to do it at this point, at this juncture. Yeah, with a couple of turns left now. So that's where it ended. That's where it ended. The last turn, if any of these units rallied, it would have been a real massacre for the Russians. Really, it would have been impossible to get the fourth building. Maybe this building would have fallen, but it was stacked. It was stacked. Um, the flank attack here would have failed, um, and there was ultimately it would have been ultimately futile because the Germans would have had one more turn left and another turn to counterattack the Russian advance. So at the end of the day, Schultz with his 9-1 HMG saved the day. Saved the day. And there was a lot of bad luck there on the part of the Russian with getting his support weapons and uh, armored fighting vehicles self-destruct, really. It was a case of self-destruction. 46 minutes. That's great. So with 46 minutes left, I want to bring to your attention a couple of tournaments that are in the works. Unfortunately, it does not look like um, I'll be able to attend, but I'd like to shout them out as well. So Carl Noriega brought to my attention, or brought to everybody's attention rather, the Northeaster ASL tournament will take place March 23rd, 26th on 2023. I will provide you with a link in the description below. I highly recommend it. I had the honor and the privilege when I first did my first virtual advanced squad leader uh, 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 online tournament. I had the honor and the privilege to play against Carl Noriega, and he's an awesome player, really an awesome player. Okay, um, and I'm pretty sure that everybody that will be attending that tournament will be someone you can learn off of, uh, whether you win or lose. And as what is really interesting is that you'll also have starter kit players that are welcomed, and there will be starter kit playing. Okay, this is great. Now, the other tournament that I'd like to shout out for would be, there you go. Hey, come on. There you go. D-Day Dodgers ASL Club Thanksgiving 2022. That's going to take place on the 14th and 16th of October 2022 um, in Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada, please. Hey, all right. So here's the scenario list. Basic infantry, back to the sea, Gurdjieff's headquarters, rattle of sabers and doppelganger, fighting withdrawal or Mila 18, and I have to hand it to Dave Garvin, who is probably running this tournament. There's an excellent selection of good, hardy, uh, hardy scenarios, right? And um, it looks like I would probably have everything needed to play all these games, including the OB and the map boards, right? So My Life 18 and Fighting Withdrawal are from Beyond Valor. So from a minimalist perspective, if you want to travel to Canada and see beautiful New Brunswick, because New Brunswick is beautiful, I have to travel there one day. Um, this is an excellent an excellent tournament to go to. Unfortunately, I can't make it. I can't. Um, and they also have starter kit there as well. In order to foster new play, starter kit will be starter kit Saturday. I'll bring in my own ASL SK1 and we'll offer mentor games. The price is right, free. Please fill out the new form below. And then again, that would be an excellent opportunity to bring the boys there and have them uh, have the baptism of fire playing Star Kid. That would be great, really. And boys will be boys, you know. Who doesn't like playing with soldiers? As long as it's nice, clean fun, and nobody gets hurt, unlike in the real uh, predicament. Having said that, 50 minutes, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'd like to thank you all, new and old to this channel, and and also the fellows that come here for tax knowledge and bear the brunt of talking about this wonderful war game. I'd like to thank you as well, and also I'd like to thank uh, Michael and Yanni for being patient with me while I do these videos and upload them to YouTube. With that said, George Heotis, Roger and out. Take care and have fun.